Small towns have a certain charm about them. There's nothing nicer than taking a break from busy city life and taking it slow. However, not all small towns are as quaint as they seem, and some of them are hiding a dark secret. Number 5. On June 6, 1993, the Windsor Police Department responded to a 911 call that had originated from the Below supermarket in Windsor, North Carolina. The Windsor Police Department has just 6 officers and serves a population of 2,500 people. Windsor is described as a small, tight-knit community where everyone knows each other and bad things just don't happen. That was until June 6, 1993, when the Windsor Police Department arrived on the scene, and they could not have braced themselves for what they were about to witness. The police scanner traffic audio is available on YouTube and was posted by the channel WAVY-TV10. The dispatcher and call handlers can be heard directing the small group of officers to the Below supermarket. As they approached the scene, it became increasingly obvious they were dealing with a crime much bigger than a petty theft committed by teenagers. Inside the Below supermarket, they found the bodies of 3 deceased employees, 2 in critical condition, and 1 that was completely unharmed. According to the unharmed victim, at 1815, a black male between the ages of 30 and 35 appeared from the back of the shop. The store had closed at around 1800 hours, and the employees stayed to finish up cleaning and prepping for the shop for the next day. During this time, the unknown assailant snuck into the store and hid in the back. The man waited until about 1815, as this was when the manager closed and locked the doors. The perpetrator struck moments after the doors had been closed, pointing his gun at the 6 employees, forcing them into the back room. He proceeded to bind them with duct tape and stack them on top of each other in groups of 2 before using his firearm on them. After taking care of the employees, the unknown man stole $3,000 from the till and took the shop keys with him. The surviving victim described him as a black male with a solid, slender build and a military-style haircut. They also described him as having light brown eyes and a narrow nose bridge. Despite numerous appeals, the Windsor Police Department is still no closer to solving the case. Residents of Windsor are left wondering if someone they know could be responsible for such a horrible act. The small community found itself on the map for all the wrong reasons. If you have any information about the Below killings, you're asked to contact the Windsor County Police Department on 252-794-3111. Number 4. As of 2016, the population of Nairn, Scotland, sat at just 9,960, making it one of the smaller settlements in Scotland. Many choose to call this place their home because of the stunning scenery and natural beauty that it has to offer, while others like the charm of the old market town and fishing port. In 2004, the town was rocked by a crime that remains unsolved to this day. On November 28, 2004, Alistair Wilson and his wife Veronica were ready to put their children to bed and settle in for the night. At around 1900 hours, Veronica heard the doorbell ring and went to answer it. Instead of being greeted by a cheery neighbor or a family member, she was met with an unfamiliar man. The man looked her in the eyes and said the 2 words, Alistair Wilson. Veronica was confused. Alistair hadn't told her he was expecting anyone. Nonetheless, she went upstairs to fetch him and tended to the children while he spoke to the man at the door. The man handed Alistair a blue envelope that read Paul, but upon opening it, he noticed it was completely empty. He was bewildered at this point and went to ask his wife if there'd been some sort of mix-up. when he returned to the door, he was shot 3 times. Alistair fell to the ground, and the mysterious man disappeared into the night, taking the blue envelope with him. Sadly, he succumbed to his injuries and passed away in the hospital hours later. The small community of Nairn was in disbelief. Most people knew Alistair and Veronica, or had at least heard of them, and couldn't think of anyone who would want to harm them. Ever since that cold November evening in 2004, the case has sat cold with police in Scotland having no leads or clues. The couple's adult son gave an interview to BBC later on, saying, quote, "I still can't believe someone could do that on our doorstep while my brother and I were upstairs. Photographs are all I have, and no family should suffer the way we have all these years. I'm appealing on behalf of my family to anyone who may have any information, no matter how big or small, to please come forward. Someone out there could have the missing piece of information. If you believe you know anything about this case, you're asked to contact 101 or 440-1786-289-070. Number 3. For 13 years, the Lane Bryant murders have remained unsolved, and the Tinley Park Police Department are hoping that new technology will finally bring the person responsible to justice. Detective Ray Violetto of the Tinley Park Police Department has never given up hope and still has pictures of the 5 victims on his wall to keep him motivated. On February 2nd, 2008, the town of Tinley Park, Illinois, was hit with a horrific crime. On that day, there were several employees working at the Lane Bryant clothing store in Brookside Marketplace at 191st and Harlem, and none of them could have predicted what was about to unfold in front of them. For the staff and customers of Lane Bryant, the day was panning out as usual. That was until a gunman burst into the store and forced 6 women into the back. The 6 women consisted of the store manager, an employee, and 4 shoppers who were just in the store browsing and picking up items. After ushering them into the back of the shop, the man opened fire, claiming all 6 victims. The only surviving victim told police that she laid on the floor and waited for the gunman to leave. She was also able to describe the attacker. She told police that the attacker was an African-American male, around 6 foot to 6'2", with a large build and broad shoulders. The survivor was able to tell police that the man had his hair in cornrows, with one of the rows having a strand filled with green beads that hung over his right cheek. She explained that he came into the store pretending to be a delivery man before pulling out a gun and forcing them into the back. Tinley Park police have received over 7,300 tips, but they are still no closer to apprehending the killer. In a 911 call made by Rhode McFarland, his voice can be heard and it sounds as if he's saying, "I'm losing it." If you have any information, you're asked to contact the Tinley Park Police Department at 708-444-5000. Number 2. Thatcher, Arizona is home to 4,865 residents, with the town itself being home to the Eastern Arizona College. The town is also known for its large Mormon community, and one article described it as the kind of community where porch lights have been left on and doors left unlocked for kinfolk. However, in 1995, this would all change and the residents of Thatcher would begin locking their doors at night and keeping the lights off. On July 9th, 1995, 29-year-old Mary Ann Holmes was attacked in her home with the Thatcher police chief commenting, quote, "She had trauma to the head." The alarm was raised by one of Mary Ann's daughters, who went to a neighbor's house and asked the neighbor why her mother wouldn't wake up. When police arrived at the scene, they found a bloody shoe print and found that the intruder had stolen money from Mary, who'd held a yard sale at her home the morning before. A neighbor told police that Mary Ann had been bragging about how much money she'd made, saying, quote, Mary Ann was talking rather loudly about what a good idea the sale was and how much money she was making. I think the wrong person heard her talking too much. Because of this, the police believe that the incident was a robbery gone wrong. Local police have named 53-year-old Philip Turley as a person of interest, but have declined to make any further comments on the case. Turley was arrested in California in 2016 for attempted murder, and the most recent update that we have is from April 8, 2021, when he pled guilty to premeditated attempted murder. Turley is currently awaiting sentencing, and authorities in Thatcher are hoping that new evidence will come to light to help them crack Mary Ann's case. Number 1. With a population of just over 40,000, Woonsocket, Rhode Island is no stranger to crime, but the Woonsocket Police Department was not prepared for what was about to come. Between 2003 and 2004, Woonsocket would be caught in the grips of a serial killer, leaving residents wondering, were they next? Between 2003 and 2004, 33-year-old Audrey Harris, 42-year-old Christine Dumont, and 24-year-old Stacy Goulet all disappeared under mysterious circumstances. All three women worked on the streets and had been reported missing after they failed to show up at work or home. Police took these disappearances seriously and began handing out missing persons posters and appealing for anyone with information to come forward. They also received tips from two women who worked in the same profession. One told police that 33-year-old Jeffrey Maillet had invited them back to his house. When she arrived at his home, they thought they would perhaps be offered a drink and sit and talk with Jeffrey, but instead he tried to strangle her. After a minute or two, Jeffrey let go and told her to leave immediately. After receiving these valuable tips, police decided to visit Jeffrey. During the first part of their interrogation, Jeffrey maintained his innocence. However, as the officers dug deeper and deeper, Jeffrey finally snapped and confessed to his crimes. Jeffrey was arrested and charged with the murder of 3 women. When news hit the headlines, the residents of Woonsocket were shocked, and many said that they had no recollection of Jeffrey. One person said, "I'd see him at parties or in bars, always looking towards the back of the room, never out mingling." That's the memory most people have of him. Others described him as quiet and nerdy, leaving people to speculate whether someone so shy and quiet could be capable of such a crime. In 2006, Jeffrey stood before the court, and after much deliberation, he was found guilty of all charges. For his crimes, the judge sentenced him to 3 life sentences, plus 20 years for the assault of the other 2 victims. One of his victims addressed him in court and said, quote, "I hope you get all you deserve today, because a lifetime of suffering is never enough." Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.